I already get called a transphobe or a TERF, which is funny because I'm not even a feminist, so technically isn't a thing. But I get called that enough as it is for some of the most common harmless opinions. And I think things are only going to get worse. I'm already prepared for the backlash, but I did not make this channel to just stay silent on stuff. This is relevant to my channel, and I will be going boom. So instead of just being so harsh, calling me or anybody else who wants to get our concerns aired out there, instead of just calling us a bigot, just realize that this doesn't come from a place of hatred. This isn't coming from a place of trying to be mean or trying to rain on anybody's parade. These are valid concerns for children, valid concerns for our freedom of speech, just to express our own questions that we have without fear of losing our livelihood to be able to pay our bills. And this also just comes from a place of just concern for common sense. Okay, so if you disagree with anything I say, feel free to weigh in and actually have a reasonable discussion so I can see your perspective, instead of just calling everybody names or calling everybody a bigot who just has valid concerns that they want to share. All right, now that I got that out of the way, let's dive right into the video. Now, as the title suggests, Emma Darcy says, I really like playing women, and I'm really good at it. I made a video about this. Because, I mean, any normal person will see this, and it's a joke at this point. And so I laugh about it. Non-binary House of the Dragon actor Emma Darcy, who uses they, them pronouns, says, I really like playing women, and I'm really good at it. Gee, I wonder what? It's just, okay, this is obviously just meant to be a lighthearted joke, but I got a lot of backlash for this as well. But, I mean, come on. Really? It's at the point to where this whole woke movement and stuff is gaslighting our common sense. They're gaslighting our common sense because, you know, most people are thinking this. Most people are like, and yet we get treated like we're evil people for having this opinion. Now, I got a lot to really dive into here. Now, a lot of the backlash I got for this kind of topic in general started when I made this Instagram post. This has been months ago. I showed a picture of myself as a kid and as an adult. And I said, I'm a tomboy who wished I was a boy when I was a kid, but grew out of it and loved being female with boy hobbies after puberty hit. Live and let live as an adult, but let kids be kids and don't put irreversible life choices on them that they're too young to consent to. I got called a TERF. I got called a transphobe, all kinds of stuff for this, but it's a valid concern. We don't want to see kids mutilated. In an ideal society and in an ideal world, we want to teach kids, hey, accept yourself how you were born, accept yourself as you are before you try to change it. That should be a last resort thing, kid or adult. Now, what an adult does is their business, and that's on them. But we've reached a point in society where this is honestly turning into somewhat of a crisis here. This is an issue because when you start mutilating children who cannot consent to something like that and making them sterile, making them unable to reproduce, all this, I mean, dude, this is some messed up stuff. And the reason why some people are just like, just because you had boy hobbies don't make you a boy. Duh, that's the point. What I'm saying here, and because when you ask anybody, especially with in this kind of situation, going by they, them, well, okay, you were born female. Why do you not feel female? Why is the response almost always, well, I didn't like playing with dolls, or I don't like pink, or I like doing what the opposite gender did more, or I don't fall exactly on this side of the spectrum. It's just, It's ridiculous. It's reinforcing stereotypes. It's saying, okay, girls have to like pink. Girls have to do this. Back in the 90s, we tried to fight against these stereotypes. We tried to say, hey, girls can play football. Boys can play with dolls if they want. It ain't a big deal. You don't have to read into it. Just let kids do their thing. And so people want to fire at me for saying, okay, just because I grew up as a tomboy. I have two brothers. So a lot of what I like, as you can even see demonstrated on this channel, are predominantly male hobbies. That's just how it is. And it doesn't make me any less of a woman. And so that's the point I'm making here. Let's stop with this. But here's the thing when it comes to transgender in general. Dude, I genuinely try my absolute best to be understanding. Like I said earlier, I do think it is always best case scenario when people can accept themselves as they were born and as they are. That is always top priority. But, some have gender dysphoria so bad that they do go ahead and move forward with transitioning. And in cases of adults, okay, within reason, because we have to be able to draw the line somewhere. We have to. But within reason, I've been understanding of it. I try to be as nice about it and understanding about it as possible. I have friends who are transgender. I respect their pronouns, and I respect the fact that they have transitioned. Look at someone like Blair White, for example. Here's somebody that, absolutely lives as a woman as much as she possibly can. I respect her pronouns. If she were in a women's bathroom, I'd have no issue with it because she actually, lives and presents as a woman. But again, this comes with drawing the line somewhere. Because why are we considered a bigot? We, women, okay? Why would I, as a woman, be considered a bigot to be uncomfortable to share a bathroom with a huge male who says that he's female, but doesn't even attempt to look like it, live like it, anything like that? You have to draw the line somewhere. You're having these prisons it just recently happened in prison. Everything that people told us was a straw man argument. Oh, that's never going to happen. This is ridiculous. It's never going to happen. Well, look what just happened recently with a transgender inmate in a female prison that just knocked up goodness knows how many women or did unconsensual things, because in those kind of circumstances especially. But regardless, okay, they're endangering women in prison. Point blank, that's what's happening. And we have to be real about this situation. And for everybody who thinks that accepting that kind of stuff is going to help the transgender community in general, you're wrong. Because this is what's making the transgender acceptance rate go even lower. Because if you accept all that, dude, I don't think so. It's better to have none of it and accept none of it than get to a point to where people are in danger because of it. So in an ideal scenario, we can draw the line somewhere. We can try our best to be nice, try our best to be understanding, and you don't have to, and here's the thing too, you don't even have to agree with it. And this is another thing that's constantly pushed on us. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to support it. You can tolerate it and be nice about it. But we've gotten to a point to where people are forced to feel like they have to parade it. They have to be like, woo, yes, chop your body parts off, let's go. Like, we're supposed to be in full support of that. It's just gotten to complete ludicrous levels. And not only just people should be able to have their own opinions on things regardless, but even beyond that, what about freedom of religion? Because this whole thing does go against a lot of religions, and so people aren't allowed to disagree with it. You know, as long as, why can't they? You know, I'm a Christian. People disagree with me, and they are allowed to do so. We have free will, and we should be able to practice that free will. I am not expecting every single person in this world to be like, woohoo, yes, girl, get your Bible out. Woo, let's go. I don't expect everybody to be like that. Do I like it when people are? Yes. But do I expect everybody to be like that? And am I going to call somebody a bigot because they disagree with my faith? No. And so we've gotten to this point to where things have just reached absurd levels. And like I was saying before, when it comes to adults with gender dysphoria and trying to be kind, trying to be understanding, even though it's something that not everybody is going to agree with, you know, that's a thing that I feel like most of society in the West has been trying to practice, even if they disagree with it. But we're reaching a point to where people are actually making up genders, making up pronouns. And people tried to say this before. People tried to say, well, what happens when the Apache helicopter thing, for example? And you know how much people were like, oh, that's a straw man. That'll never happen. That'll never happen. Dude, it is. Look at this Twitter account here. Lesbian Snow White. Her whole channel is on neo-pronouns. She talks about dragon's pronouns.
Today I'm going to be teaching you how to use dragon's pronouns in sentences. Every time I hear the word dragon, I always think about Shrek, especially how the dragon ends up with Donkey and then they have babies together. It's like, what? And I love when people have usernames that have like Shrek in the username.
I can't. This isn't even satire. This is real. I think either that or it's just the ultimate troll. But this is where we're at. Look, 165,000 followers. 3.2 million likes. Gamers pronouns? Are you serious? Fawn, peppermint, dino, blanket. Are we really? Here's the thing is one can argue, okay, she's being the ultimate troll, and perhaps she is. But clearly, 3.2 million likes, 165,000 followers. Clearly, a lot of people are buying into it. So at what point are we allowed to draw the line and say, okay, this is getting out of hand? And speaking of, you know, the topic at hand here, the they-them thing, okay? I'm going to get so much backlash for this, but I don't care anymore. To me, the they-them thing is an insult to actual intersex people. There are people who are born with things are just genetically different. Okay, they might have both parts. Or I went down a rabbit hole because I found a TikToker that showed up on my For You page who was intersex, and she looked, for the most part, at first glance, you'd say, oh, woman, right? Well, when she was supposed to be going through puberty, she wasn't getting a period. Her parents took her to the doctor. The doctor came back and said, you are biologically male, which was astonishing and shocking to her because she actually had a female part, but she didn't have the male part down there that she could see. But then blood work, chromosomes, all that, male. In where her ovaries were supposed to be were some underdeveloped testes or something. I don't even know the full extent of it because it's something we're not really that educated on for the most part. And so what we have here and what this looks like to me is you have people who actually have legitimate conditions like that who are, you know, unfortunately, a lot of them are very embarrassed about it, and they don't share that. And of course, they have a right not to have to tell everybody about that. But regardless, they're actually going through some stuff. They're going through actually being different, being physically different, and having to be, not necessarily having to be, but a lot of them are embarrassed about it, and it's tough for them. And so for somebody who is just completely genetically, biologically normal to roll in and say, you know what, in my head, I feel like I am not a specific gender, so I will be going by they, them pronouns. If anybody has a right to say they don't feel like a specific gender, shouldn't it be the actual intersex community? Because they really are somewhere on that spectrum of where they are kind of both. And then the more I kept watching this specific TikToker, for example, the more I kept seeing like, okay, I can see how, you know, on some angles, it's like you think, oh, woman, definitely woman, especially how she was presenting. But then on some other angles, like, oh, wait, this is, you do get this feel of like not completely male or female. And I'm not saying this in a way to make fun of this person. But it's just a real thing. And so to me, because it's trendy now, for me to see people who, here we have a female, okay, a born female who can just say, oh yeah, I'm they, them. I'm just put me in the LGBT community because I'm they, them, and I'm not any gender, or gender fluid where they can pick one day or the next, like look at Demi Lovato. And so it's unfortunate. Obviously, I don't know Emma Darcy, so I can't totally speak on Emma Darcy's experience, but I can say that from my perspective, it does seem like an insult to the actual intersex community. And if I'm going to be calling somebody gender neutral pronouns, they, them, then I feel like that should be reserved for those who are in a physical, who have a physical condition, for that to be actually valid. And so when people want to talk about, the whole woke movement wants to talk about appropriation and hijacking people's cultures or things about them, their biology, whatever it may be. Well, this is literally that. This is appropriating an actual condition. And so I'm, you know, when it really comes down to it, people will say, well, in her head, she feels that way in her head. Bro, like, I've seen a very good analogy or comparison to this that people have made, and they say, well, what about someone with an eating disorder? That you could have someone with an eating disorder who weighs 70 pounds, right? Full grown 5'8" woman weighs 70 pounds because she has an eating disorder, and she thinks she's fat. In her head, she has body dysmorphia and she thinks she's fat. Should we be offering up and starting GoFundMes and donating and celebrating this girl getting liposuction? What is the difference here? Like, what is that much of the difference here? Because body dysmorphia and gender dysphoria are not things that should be celebrated. These are things this is a problem, and it's sad. And so people will ultimately do what they feel like they got to do when they experience this stuff, but it's not something that we should be like, woohoo, you have gender dysphoria. Like, what the crap? And then when it comes to children, especially, now this is the biggest concern, is children, the influence, the celebration of it, the glorifying of it, what it's doing is it is making children, and you even have parents encouraging their children and telling them and almost forcing a gender dysphoria on them, because let's face it, like, kids don't freaking know this stuff. Kids can't be transgender. You can't when you're a kid, because there's so many, like, some kids think they're a cat, some kids, and even that's getting accepted in schools right now. Like, oh my gosh, it's insane that I feel like I even have to be nervous to say this stuff. That is common sense. It should be common sense, and it is for most people, but we've been too scared to say anything because people are losing their jobs over this stuff, over these opinions and over these concerns. And that's what it is. Like I said, this isn't coming from a place of hate. This is coming from a place of concern. And so, you know, whenever adults do what they need to do, they do, well, what they feel like they need to do. That doesn't even fix the problem. When you look at transgender adults, most of them, they're not like, from what I've seen, and I'm telling you, I've followed them for years, and I've tried to be all, whoa, let's go. I've tried to be on that side. But what I have seen has always been distress. You don't see it's very not common, at least what I've seen. You don't see someone who's transgender and says, and gets the surgeries, gets hormone replacement therapy, surgeries, this, that, and the other. You don't see them say, finally, I feel great. All right, that's it. I'm done. I feel awesome. They battle with this gender dysphoria for the rest of their lives. Now, obviously, there may be some exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, that's what's going on. And so there are plenty of legitimate cases of people suffering with this, but there's also cases of people wanting attention for it and hijacking people with actual a mental problem, and they're hijacking it for attention because people try to show sympathy toward those who are actually suffering with gender dysphoria. And so we've gotten into this clown world. We've gotten into this place to where it's like, we can't even say something. And then back to the topic of kids on this issue. This was another thing, is all this stuff has been predicted. And whenever people predict this stuff, then they're told, no way, that's crazy. You're exaggerating, you're being hyperbolic. It wouldn't get to this point. Well, look where we're at. Look at this Vox article right here. Now, don't even get me started on this imagery because, dude, I know I can go down some conspiracy rabbit holes, but come on. I ain't even gonna touch that. But y'all, those who know will know. You can see it. This is very, very disturbing. And here is what's so scary about a transgender child. Stop worrying about what happens if we let kids transition. Worry about what happens if we don't. And then, of course, all of the standard talking points that the wokeology uses is right there. So, yeah. This is a concern. Things are getting beyond crazy. And I think that it's ridiculous to expect every person to have to play along. Especially, like I said, when it comes to the made-up stuff. You can't expect everyone to play along. Emma Darcy can just use whatever pronouns Emma Darcy wants to use. But Emma Darcy should not expect every person in the world to have to conform to that and to have to use that. When you're going in, when you're actually using, when you're going into the realm of making stuff up. Like, let's be real. So, yeah, the cancel crowd's gonna have a field day with this. And it's like, to the point to where you feel like even saying this stuff that you know most people are thinking, and that you know that is just should be valid questions, that should be valid concerns, and not from a place of hatred. You should have the freedom to be able to say that. But here I am, just even making this video will risk having my entire YouTube channel taken down. But like I said, I didn't start this channel to be passive. I started this channel to really go boom on topics. Society, we have been so quiet for years now. And people are finally speaking out. And if I don't do my part in that, then we're going to go right back to where everybody is scared to have an opinion on anything. Everyone is scared to make a joke. Everyone is scared of whoever they vote for and is going to get them fired. You know, we just gotten to these levels of things have just been insane. So, yeah. That's that. I could go on a lot longer, but this video is already long because this is a very current event, relevant topic, and things that are just going on right now that are continuously getting more and more and more extreme. Like, again, we have to be able to draw the line somewhere. Feel free to weigh in the comments below because I don't even know. It's getting to the point to where people are now afraid to be tolerant or of anything because we're seeing even like I could go on a lot longer, but this video is already really long. So anyway, that's that's where I stand on this issue. I feel like, you know, as I'm a Christian, this also goes in line with my beliefs. I should be able to say this stuff without fear of persecution. I should, in the United States of America, be able to practice freedom of speech and to express valid concerns and questions that are pertaining and relating to my faith even. And this goes even beyond that. People who don't have a religion even, they have a lot of these opinions too. So yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm just gonna stop here because I can just go on and on and on. But that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. This is nerve-wracking to even upload it, but heck it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.